Have you ever noticed how some people seem to shift the mood of a room just by pulling away? No shouting, no arguing. They simply withdraw and everything changes. People get anxious, seek attention, wonder what they did wrong. But here's the twist. This power has always been available to you. Carl Jung believed that when you stop reacting automatically, when you replace impulse with silence, you take back control. Because those around you often manipulate through your predictability. The moment you become a mystery, the game changes. Think about it. Who gets upset when you pull away? Who pushes your buttons just to get a rise out of you? Their discomfort reveals the grip they had over your energy. A grip you probably didn't realize existed. This isn't about turning your back on the world, it's about choosing yourself. Jung called this individuation, becoming whole, becoming real. And it starts with understanding that silence, when chosen consciously, is power, not weakness. You've been trained to respond, to please, to say yes, even when every part of you screams no. From childhood, your value was linked to your availability. But what if that's the trap? What if constant presence is the reason you feel so drained? Jung described the persona, the mask we wear to survive social expectations. But the longer we wear it, the more we lose sight of ourselves. You say you're fine when you're breaking inside. You respond to texts when you need rest. You defend yourself when no defense is required. Why? Because you feel like you owe something to everyone. But here's a truth few speak out loud. Availability is not love. It's not loyalty. It's not strength. Often, it's self-abandonment dressed up as kindness. And the world doesn't reward this. It drains it. People don't cherish what's always available, they use it. And when you set a boundary, when you stop performing, they say you've changed. But really, you've stopped being useful to them. Carl Jung believed your energy was sacred, your psyche, a limited reservoir. Every reaction, every emotional outburst, every attempt to please costs you. And most of us are broke without knowing it. So here's the shift. Begin observing. Notice the triggers. Catch the urge to defend or explain. Don't act. Just notice. This pause is where freedom lives. When you protect your energy, people may pull away. Let them. Your job isn't to be accessible, it's to be aligned. Because something strange happens when you conserve your energy. Your presence deepens. You walk into a room and don't just appear, you're felt. That's power. And it doesn't come from doing more. It comes from knowing when to do nothing. In the next part, we'll explore how this silence exposes the hidden games of manipulation and how your unavailability breaks the roles others try to cast you in. The ones where you were never the author. They'll criticize. They'll guilt trip. They'll spark drama, not because you did something wrong, but because you stopped playing the role they needed you to play. Carl Jung once said, "We do not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. When you stop feeding the cycle, their shadow surfaces. And most people can't face it, so they project it onto you." But here's the real question. Are you ready to face the discomfort that comes with protecting yourself? If you find this helpful, and this is resonating with you, don't forget to click the subscribe button so you won't miss new videos, coming every other day. Your support truly means a lot. Thank you. Are you ready to be misunderstood, judged, even rejected for choosing your peace? Because that silence you give them, the boundary they can't cross, does more than frustrate. It strips away their control. And in that silence, something powerful begins to grow. In today's world, silence is rare. Everyone wants to speak, argue, prove. But Jung taught that silence isn't emptiness, it's a state of power. Strategic silence, intentional, clear, and grounded, disrupts the entire game. When you stop reacting, you start observing. You notice patterns, manipulation, self-sabotage, emotional dependency. You see them clearly, maybe for the first time. And clarity is dangerous, especially to those who've always relied on your confusion. Ever noticed how some people panic when you don't respond? When you don't explain, defend, or justify? That panic isn't about missing you. It's about losing control over the story they were writing, with you as a character. Your silence rewrites the script. Suddenly they don't know who you are anymore. You've stepped out of the role, and that forces them to look inward, something most people will do anything to avoid. But let's be honest, this kind of silence isn't easy. It creates distance, it exposes the truth, and it makes people uncomfortable, especially those who only valued you for your availability. They'll say you've changed, that you're cold, distant, arrogant. But what they're really saying is, I can no longer use you. Because the more mature you become, the more you value your peace over being understood. You become selective. You realize not everyone deserves your words, your energy, your truth. Jung believed every word, every reaction is an energetic transaction. So choose wisely. Not everyone earns access to your emotional world. Silence isn't retreat. It's sovereignty. It's the language of someone who no longer needs to explain or prove. But make no mistake, silence will expose people. Your absence forces them to sit with themselves, and that's a mirror many aren't ready for. Yet the most powerful silence isn't the one that unsettles others. It's the silence that restores you. In that space, free from noise and performance, you reconnect with something deeper, your own center. This is where your energy returns, where your inner voice gets louder, where the mask drops, and the real you begins to rise. But understanding all this means nothing if, in practice, you still say yes when you mean no. If you keep answering messages that exhaust you, maintaining relationships out of guilt or habit, nodding your way through discomfort just to keep the peace. Awareness without action is self-deception. Real change starts with discipline, with choosing not to react. Not because you're passive, but because you're finally awake. And no, that doesn't make you cold. It makes you conscious. Unavailability isn't cruelty. It's clarity. You're not rejecting people. You're rejecting patterns that drain your soul. You don't owe explanations. You don't owe your peace to anyone's expectations. And for many, that's unforgivable. Because when you stop explaining, you break the emotional contract where you were always the caretaker, the responder, the available one. And when that contract breaks, the guilt-tripping starts. Jung wrote that individuation, the journey to your truest self, requires sacred isolation. Not loneliness, not despair, but a deliberate retreat. A space where your own voice becomes louder than the world's noise. Want to measure your growth? Look around. Who distances themselves when you grow silent? Who tries to provoke you when you stop reacting? Who accuses you of changing when you finally start choosing yourself? These aren't losses. They're confirmations. Conscious unavailability is the start of self-ownership. It's saying no to emotional chaos and yes to peace, clarity, and wholeness. And yes, some will leave, but you'll remain stronger, clearer, free. So ask yourself, are you ready to be misunderstood in order to be whole? Because the truth is, your peace has a price. But staying in the role others wrote for you, that costs your soul. And with that being said, I will see you in the next one.